maybe our former boss wanted. And so after that, we decided we'll either, there's a story in the Bible about the people who had leprosy, and they were locked outside the city. And they were dying. So they said, if we sit here, we will die out of hunger. If we go to the city, we might be killed, but we might be killed when we have eaten something. So they moved, but God gave them their steps. There was this loud sound that people were afraid that a big army was coming. So they ran away, and they were able to survive, and they saved even their community. So for us as the Jubilee leaders, who were very few, who God gave us second chance to serve at this 13th parliament, because, as I said, majority of our members didn't manage or they didn't make it. So we decided if we sit here, the party will die. We need to go out there. And by the way, reaching out and even going to Kenya Kwanza doesn't mean that we have to agree with everything else that they do. But again, as I said, we don't have to criticize everything for the sake that we were not together. Our first step, we went to see the deputy president. And our main concern, especially the people who are from the mountain, the first step was actually the members of parliament from the mountain, and we were very few, because we were concerned about the huge number of our people who are in government who are being, for lack of a better word, being chased away. Every Friday, people are waiting. And so we asked him, it doesn't matter, these people are from our community, they serve the government of the day. People who work for the government, they serve the government of the day. So why would you just sit down pretty and you see your people are just being removed from the positions? That was our first concern. Because these are government officials. You cannot come and remove me from my position because I serve the government that Uhuru Kenyatta was leading, and maybe you had disagreement with Uhuru. And so we said, can't you give these people a chance to work? And that was our beginning of a conversation. The second conversation was, there was a petition of Honorable Mwago, who has now left us. I said, that's why I said some of us are at night with us, and during the day they are on the other side. Honorable Mwago, and he was being challenged by Bogwa, that this is a Starehe constituency. Then we had another one for Honorable Kwenya from Kinagop. And these are people, and we said, you got the government. Why do you want to take these people through another, court process? These people, even to win with Jubilee, they tried. And so I said for the Honorable Kwenya was easier. But he said for Honorable Mwago, we might need to consult the president to talk to Bogwa to drop the case. So that's how our journey started. It was not a journey that we were going to do anything else. When we met the president, I personally told him, Your Excellency, the same thing. I am a bit worried on the government officials, and this was not just from our community, who are being removed from their positions because they were in the former. And I asked him, why are you not part of that government? Why would you want to remove people from their positions unless, they have really done something that they are jeopardizing your government? You need to give them a chance. And
so that's where the conversation began.
Was my conversation.
So the conversation was really, from what you're saying now, it was not necessarily that Jubilee was going to ask for a position within the Kenya Kwanza coalition.
No.
But what you're saying is that you went to ask about people from the region who were then being removed because they formed part of the previous administration. Yes. That's all right.
And when we get even to the presidency, it was not just people from our region.
Optics, however.
It was Jubilee, it was former...
It was just people who formed the former administration. But we knew every Friday... We were all waiting
for the Gazette notice.
And we asked him, why would you want these people? Actually, I said, some of these people, maybe their relatives are the one who even voted for you. Some of them even voted for you, may never know. But because there was a lot of, how the things were in the past government, I said, you're also in this government. Why would you want to remove somebody unless they are not performing? And he said, actually, we have had that conversation with my deputy president. We have decided to go slow on these things, and we'll give them time. And for us, we were very happy. So the other thing, the people...
And for that reason, you decided to cooperate with Kenya Kwanza?
No, we did. That was not the only reason. After that, actually, our colleagues were like, how did you guys go? What were you going to speak about? And we had to explain to them, it was not just about Jubilee. We went as a team. First was a team from Mount Kenya. And so from there, we had a discussion with the president. And we said, we would want to participate in building the nation. We don't want just to be the people who are going to be criticizing and saying these are not working, but we want to be part of the solution. And how would you even be part of the solution? How often do you meet with the president? How often would you even give him a piece of your mind or even contribute to what they are doing? And we said, if we are given a chance, we would want to participate. But we have no written agreement that we are working or we are going to join Kenya Kwanza. And we were very independent. We said, as a Jubilee party, because we have a good membership, we want to remain independent so that when things are not right, We'll be able to stand and tell you things are not right. We are the people who will tell you the truth. When things are okay, we will be able to join you and also support you without being told by the other side of Azimio, you don't support because this is politics and you don't want to support the government.
Sure, that makes sense. But Moshimo, you must understand how it looked. Optics are very important in all of this.
Yes.
You can imagine, no sooner than had you had this internal tiff with whomever, it was even called the size. It was the Kioni versus Keg. That's how it looked, right?
Yeah.
K versus K. Then you went to another KK and had a conversation about what you're saying. But what it looked like for everybody else was that you're taking the party and its business to the ruling coalition to do one of two things. One, remain relevant as a party, or number two, remain relevant as political individuals in the country.
Or both.
Yeah.
And we cannot take away the importance that optics plays here. Did you play along to that tune?
No, and I think I've explained why and the steps that made us even to take those steps. And even today, I don't regret it. Because sometimes if you're so afraid of perception and what people will think about you, then you'll never move. You lock yourself in the house and start crying and say, we lost and we wait for the next 5 years. And so what will you tell people that you did for the next 5 years? Or what was your contribution? Sometimes you have to gain access so that you're able to make decisions also and influence. Remember, as part of the opposition, we do not have really a very active role if it comes to even the committees where a lot of things are done in Parliament. The ruling party always have a higher number of members in any committee.
Yes.
So sometimes even your decision and what you have to contribute, it becomes very difficult. But when you are part of the team and you can be able to say, here, things are not going right, not just for the sake of you being seen like opposition, because what do politicians do? And it's very easy to be in opposition. Today, if I just want to stand and criticize what the government is doing, I've become very popular. It happens. But what politicians must remember, and I'm one of them, and I see myself much more of a leader than a politician, because I would not overpromise. I would not tell people, if I was in this position, I would have done this different to make you happy. But for sure, I know it is not possible. Or things cannot work the way I am telling people. And that's what happened to many politicians who don't make it back, because you come in with promises, with things that you can be able to do, and you convince people, I am the magician. I am going to perform miracles. And after 2-3 years down the line, you have not even performed half a miracle. You have not even done half of what you promised. So it is good to be real.
So you don't want to be confrontational with the majority side. You decided that let's have a conversation.
Yes.
Let's always approach matters in a conversational manner.
In an objective way.
This is the same Jubilee that had a handshake in 2018. So it's the same spirit that you were taking to this one.
We followed, actually at some point.
Kenya Kwanza does not like handshake.
But now what is this dialogue that is happening?
It's dialogue.
It is handshake.
It
is just with another name. That sounds real.
So is that what you were taking to Kenya Kwanza?
Initially,
as
for us,
members, elected members and nominated members of Parliament of Jubilee, you wanted some sort of cooperation with Kenya Kwanza?
What happened when the Azimio decided they're going on the streets? We said we don't believe in demonstrations. We said we don't believe in destruction of properties. We said we don't believe in, delays where there were Mondays or, there were Mondays and Wednesdays or Thursdays that people could not go to work, our children could not go to school, because you want to be heard. There are various ways of negotiations, and we asked for dialogue. For us, we said, one of the reasons why we were left, and it's true, Kenya Kwanza by that time, they did not believe in handshake because they were not in the position of power. Or they did not, they felt like other people came to take in. And by the way, Eric, this is the same thing that even the UDA people feel about us. They are not very comfortable sometimes with us.
When they see you.
Yes, they feel like we are coming to take up their space. Like we fought so much for this. Why are you taking our space? But it's not about it. Kenya is bigger than Sabina.
Okay.
Kenya is bigger than any other person.
So question then, Moshimura.
Yes.
Since this good relations that you formed with Kenya Kwanza, can you list a couple of benefits that you've been able to advocate, things that would have not worked if you were speaking from the aisles of the minority,
yes,
but because you're able to cross over to the other side and shake hands with Kenya Kwanza, the position that the Jubilee Parliamentary Party has taken on certain matters has actually been adopted by Kenya Kwanza?
I wouldn't...
2 issues.
I wouldn't be able to name or to be very, very specific on specific issues, because what has happened is that parliamentary issues that we have done, we have not come in as negotiators at Jubilee. Because immediately we went into this kind of arrangement, then we went to court and we have been fighting. But one of the things I would say we have achieved, which is one thing, is for Jubilee to have its own stand and its own voice in Parliament. For Jubilee to be recognized as a parliamentary party, that one for us was a big win for us, and I would say it's a selfish win. Because now with that, we will be able now to stand as a parliamentary party and say our stand as Jubilee Party is this one, not our stand as coalition in Kenya Kwanza or a coalition in Azimio. And that one just happened, was it a few weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago? It has been a battle. And our members also, majority of them remember, and yesterday there was also another court case with our MCs in Nairobi. Our members were being beheaded. They couldn't work. If you give a different opinion, they were being removed from their political parties. So for now, there's no member of parliament, of Jubilee Parliamentary Party, who can be removed from their own committee unless I, as a whip, write a letter to do the same. So now they are cushioned. They can be able to now practice with independency. That's what the same thing happened. They removed all our MCAs who were aligned to our side at the Nairobi County. Yesterday there was a court ruling that they were given stay orders until their case is heard and determined.
What does this recognition mean to those of us who don't understand this politics?
What it means that...
It means that now Jubilee is a third force in the House?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Why does this need to
because we need to be independent. We need to have our own stand. As I said, what happens in politics is that there are political decisions that are done, but there are also objective positions that are done. If a matter is of importance, a matter that benefits our people, even if the coalition that we belonged to before felt that we don't need to support because they want to sabotage the government, we will have our own say. If the government does something that is not right, we will also have our own. We will not say we are part of this government coalition and we'll just be whipped to go and vote.
But
so
isn't
we will
this
vote.
deceit?
Sorry?
Isn't this deceit? Because officially,
Yes.
Jubilee is a member of Azimio coalition.
Where are we a member? After 3 months that I've told you, there is no written agreement.
Did you write to leave?
And we have already written to leave.
Did you
We
leave?
did. Yes, we
Is
left.
Jubilee out of Azimio? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
it is out. We have papers, we wrote to them, we even gave notice, and we even wrote to the Register of Political Parties. We are out.
Under whose
and
leadership?
I want you see.
When did Jubilee leave?
Immediately after
Azimio.
the
Under whose
90 days.
leadership for execution? Because this is the thing. It's really confusing here. You've said that one of the reasons why we cannot discuss certain things because it's still in court, right?
Yes.
And then you've also said now that Jubilee has left Azimio.
Yes.
Right? But then there's still some people who say they are the leaders who are saying we're still front
That
and
is
center.
Kioni and Murade, who are not
Front
members
and
of parliament, who are not the decision makers out of the parliamentary group decision that we made.
Secretary General
Out of
and
28.
Deputy Party Leader.
He is not he's not
Jubilee.
as per the even at the
He
Register
sat
of
in this
Political
chair
Parties
3 days ago.
and said he's a
And
Secretary
told
General.
us- No,
No,
that's
he's the-
Kioni. We're talking about Murathe now.
He's
Who
the
sat
acting
here and said he's the acting
chairman.
of the party.
It is okay to act because and that's why I said I don't want to go into that matter because the matter is in court. Because what is being appealed is that when the Kioni, Murathe, and Kagwe were removed from, they actually were removed from the party. So that was as per the court they have appealed. So I don't want to go into that details so that I don't want to be told I'll be a concept of court. So I don't want to go through that drama. It has been too much drama. But all I want to say is this: if you look at Baba, who was our presidential candidate for Azimio, look at the history from 2002. What happened after the elections? Have any coalition remained that was under the leadership of Baba? It goes up to the elections time. After that, there's a spill. Go to NAC, 2002. Then you go to 2007. There was CORD. There was NASA 2013. And you see the situation we are in, even at 2017. Remember, Wiper was in the similar position, where they even had to fight for one of their members to be given the position of a parliamentary service commissioner. So it's something. It's history repeating itself, and so we don't need to really belabor.
We
If
can
you
belabor
look-
this
if
one.
you look-
we
if
can
you
belabor
look-
this one. Let me tell you why.
If
we
you
can
look at the coalition agreements, what happens?
Yes.
They expire 90 days after the elections. So you're supposed to have a meeting and agree that we are going to have a way forward, and this is how we are going to work. Have such a meeting ever happened? No.
The law that you spearheaded as Jubilee last year before
Yes.
the election was to amend the Political Parties Act
Yes.
to create some mongrel called a coalition political party,
Yes.
which said that the membership of the coalition political party shall be in individual political parties.
Yes.
And it also stipulates at what point you can enter this and at what point you can leave.
Yes.
You cannot leave before 90 days.
90 days were long
And the
gone.
process for leaving is also stipulated in that law.
Yes.
That you shall write to the leadership of the coalition political party
have done it.
as a party and signal your desire to exit.
We have done it. Our NEC members, and I again want to take you back on the background when you ask which leadership decided, because our former political party leader is now out. So we have the NEC, which has 28 members. 24 out of 28 members wrote and made a decision that we are leaving Azimio, and actually gave a notice before the 90 days. So everything that the law, everything that had to be followed, we have followed to the letter.
So as far as you're concerned,
Yes.
on what date did Jubilee leave Azimio?
Automatically after 90 days, when you have written and there have no response that was done, that automatically you leave.
So
And again,
from that
I also
point,
want to remind you.
ceased being a member of the minority political coalition.
We are still in the minority because we are not in government. But now we are in
But
the
you're
minority.
not a minority in the minority coalition.
Not in the coalition. We are not in any coalition.
Okay.
And that is it's very clear. Number two,
But
Azimio
until
is a
recently,
parliamentary
Sabina,
party.
yes.
You see, there was Azimio political party.
Yes.
It's also good that you know.
Yes.
That only had 2 members,
Yes.
which was the presidential candidate and the deputy. And so Azimio political party does not even exist in parliament. It has no single member. But our Azimio coalition, as it were before, it existed. After 90 days, there is nothing that has, even with the registrar of political parties, nothing has been deposited with the registrar. And so after 90 days, and we had written our desire to exit, our NEC decided the same, and nobody responded to us. So naturally, we exited.
So it was natural.
Yeah.
From that point on, Jubilee was not part of Azimio.
Because there was nothing else that was agreed
So
on.
Jubilee could not be recognized as part of the coalition of the minority.
No, we are in the minority, but not in any coalition.
You're not in the coalition
No,
of the minority.
no,
So
no.
why did you remain as the minority deputy whip?
Because we are still minority. And I still have 28 members that we lead in parliament. So we are still in minority. And that's why I was a minority whip. Even before the speaker declared us as an independent political party or parliamentary party, we had written long ago to the speaker and said, after 90 days, we would want us to be recognized as per our standing orders as a parliamentary political party.
Okay.
And then we also want to have our own leadership. And that's what the speaker did. Though it took a lot of time. We do not want to, again, complain about it.
Okay.
But finally, what we fought for, we got.
So in your mind and in your books as Jubilee, since you're not part of the minority coalition,
But we are a minority political
but
party.
you are a minority
Yeah.
group
Yeah.
in parliament,
Yes.
could you form leadership of the minority?
Yes, we could.
So why were you removed
Because
as
Azimio,
deputy minority whip?
and they replaced me with Mwenje, by the way.
Why were you
Why?
removed?
Because they felt that I was not agreeing with their stand. The reason, anyway, let me first start by this. I was not called to be told I'm being removed. I was not even being told the reasons why I was removed. But if I would say, maybe I was removed because I refused to go for Maandamano.
I think you automatically removed yourself
I said I'm not going
when
for
you, as a
Maandamano.
member of Jubilee, exited the coalition.
But now,
Isn't
what
that
we
what
were
you just
asking
said?
for, yes. You see what they did for us in the Senate? They removed Fatuma Dolo as the whip of the minority and replaced with Olekina. So what they wanted to do, the same thing in Parliament, was to remove me and replace us with an ODM person. And I told them, this position, even if I'm to leave, it's not Sabina's position. But
a
as
Jubilee
Jubilee,
position.
because we are 28 members and we are minority, we need to be recognized. That's why they went, and actually the only reason Mwenje is with them, it was because he was promised that position. And he's not going to hold it for a long time. Those people are con. He's not going to hold it for a long time. And watch this space. I'm not a prophetess of doom, but these people, after the elections, they do not sustain any coalition. And I've told you, look, from 2002, 2007, 2013, Wiper itself, it's only that Kalonzo now has become very strong. What happened even to Kioni himself? Kioni, as a Jubilee member, was not made part of the negotiation table, because he's not a member of parliament. He was just given or nominated as a clerk to the dialogue. Then what happened finally? You saw Kioni and Mother Karua and I think Eugene Wamalwa saying they do not support the stand of the talk. They have formed some Nicole Kamwene. So I don't want to talk about Kamwene today, but maybe another day we'll talk about it. Yeah.
So, Mwashimiwa, you know what we've done is that we've gone around and we've come back to this position whereby we're still saying the way that all of this looks, it would appear as though there's personal vendettas that are trying to be sorted. Everybody's trying to lick their wounds and then look for a position of relevance. And one must ask the question that where a political party plays in a country's politics is very important. But it looks like there's a lot of mudslinging going on, number one. Number two, again, everybody fighting for their own posterity, right? Wants to be the whip, doesn't want to be the whip. Is there a party leader? Is there no party leader? It looks as though the entire party needs to just crumble this house of cards and start afresh. That's what it looks like, if it's going to manage.
What we have to do is that Jubilee must survive. We have no option. We cannot kill Jubilee. It must survive. We must go to the grassroots, and Jubilee Party must grow.
Doesn't matter who's in the leadership.
Whether I'm going to be the culprit, whether I'm going to be the person to suffer or not, it doesn't matter who is going to. It's not about Sabina. Jubilee Party is a party that have been there before. So for us, we are only custodians. And by the way, once we finish with all these court cases and we're able to hold our NDC, the members will decide who they want to become the leadership. We are only holding on. We are holding brief.
If that's the case, if that happens, would you stay in the party? If the members decide, would you stay in the party? So it's a Jubilee thing and not a leadership.
Of course. I also want to remind you that we have a party leader who has now retired. We made sacrifices because of that party. So who does the party belong to? To the members. I made a personal commitment to remain in Jubilee even when things were very thick. So now that I'm a nominated person in Parliament by Jubilee Party, I am the person who should protect Jubilee. And so I am not there to protect the interest of ODM or Wiper or even Azimio. My first interest is to protect Jubilee because we must look at the future. I'm also a young politician. So there's no way I'll be clapping and following people because I just want them, them to have a feel good. But then I'm not also looking at myself. Politics is also about survival. So it is important, and this is that it is important for us. Even when I go back to the grassroots, and things are very now different. I'll go and ask for so we are still in this Jubilee Mulikata, and they laugh. I tell them, want to do the recruitment. Are you guys going to join the Jubilee? I can tell you half of the people who had left Jubilee are now back. The number of calls I get and people saying, please don't kill this party. We want this party to remain. We want to rejoin back the Jubilee Party. It's going to be one of the influential parties in Kenya. The problem with our political party might be the way the setup has been. Apart from ODM Party and Wiper, maybe that has survived for a long time, parties keep on mutating. And what do political parties stand for? If you look at America, you're either a conservative or a Democrat, and that's it. But here, it's about this political party is being led by Sabina, and I like Sabina. I want to follow Sabina.
Yes.
The next time, it's about so and so. I am following. But what do those political parties believe in? Do they even have? Do they have structures? Do they have a stand? Or do you?
And I think that's a question we should ask you.
Yes, we do. That's why we have remained. That's why you have said we don't want Jubilee Party to go down. Because at the end of the day, we need a party that will survive even after Sabina. But political parties, what we are doing now, we use them as vehicles to take us to a destination. The way you enter Matatu, this Matatu, it gets you to Machakos bus stop. Then after that, you abandon that one and you get to the next one. It's really a very bad thing. For us to have stability even in politics, for us even to have people to believe in us, because what has been happening, and which is very unfortunate, every other political cycle, when we get now to 2027, will come up with a narrative that is very attractive to people. And then people will run and say, yes, we want to support this political party because we feel they represent us. Then immediately Kenyans get disappointed. I thought you said. Why? Because we only use political parties and do some gimmicks and brand it as this is what we believe in. Then after that, it dies. I want to say, heads up even to Raila Amolo Odinga. He has never attained leadership anyway, but he has managed even when he went to his handshake, his people still somehow followed him. Now when he came back and lost, his people followed him to Andamano. Now that he has decided he's now with this dialogue thing that is happening, his people are following him. There might be something they see in him and they believe in him. But what happens to a lot of us is that we abandon when this political party, we feel like this one, if I follow it, I'm not going to win. So we use political parties also only as vehicles to win. So that's why you've seen our people voting, and especially our area, we are very much affected. We follow the wave. But ask yourself, once you follow this wave, is it going to be sustainable? And I think from lessons of 2017, I think I want to start from 2013 when I came into politics, 2017, and now what happened in 2022, we are hoping by 2027, we will fight a little bit, but for the good. And my prayer is by next year, we'll stabilize, we will sit, we'll reconcile all of us for the good of the party, not for the good of individuals. I wish I can meet Kioni, shake his hand. I wish our former political party leader can actually call of us and say, well, what do you guys want? So that we also hear from us. As a leader, one of the things that a leader should do is listen. And because we are the people who remained, we are the remnants, actually. We are the people, when you talk about royalty, I feel a bit sometimes... like I don't understand my former political party leader, because when he goes to a place and say, I'm still in Azimio, is he in Azimio? What is Azimio? Is he not supposed to be looking at his political party not to die? Because sometimes you first manage your own small family before you now go to the Jumuiya and to the small Christian community and to the Chama.
Sabina, after the elections,
yes,
it's been more than a year.
Yes.
Have you had a conversation with Uhuru Kenyatta?
No. I've not had.
Have you called him? Have you reached out to
We did.
Uhuru Kenyatta?
We tried. And I told you until he met the former members of parliament who lost. After that, he went missing in action. He went quiet.
What would you like to tell him now as we conclude?
Is that we respect him. We appreciate the work he did for Kenyans. And he should not treat us as enemies. He should reach out also to us. And he should listen to our side. Jubilee Party is a big political party for a few individuals to bring it down. And so for him, for us, even when we went to the Jubilee Party where we were and we were chased away, we had called him and said, you are our person who started this party, call all of us, let's sit down and discuss, which never came to pass. So we still respect him. We pray for him.
Okay.
Because we actually don't know who bewitched him, and we would wish that things go well. That
He's
he can
praying
be able,
for you, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Sabina Shege, thank you very much
we can
for
be able
joining
to
us.
actually tell him he did a good job, so he should not feel like...
He has to hide from it.
It's 10 a.m. Time for us to leave the studio. Sabina Shege, nominated MP and whip of the Jubilee Parliamentary Party, has been our guest. See you again tomorrow. Time for the news.